Mr. Investor, today we're going to be talking about Nano Dimensions. Is Nano Dimensions worth $100 a share? Listen, it could be worth more. Today we're going to be talking about a lot of interesting things. Some interesting things you may not have heard or seen before. Other YouTube channels may not have discussed this yet, and the actual potential for this company's growth may still not be fully recognized. It could be astronomical, and I'm not just talking about their space ventures with Harris Corporation. So what we did is I went back into old investor presentations to take a look, deep dive and find out how printing electronic circuit boards can make Nano Dimensions a lot of money. First of all, please click the like button and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on any future content. Always remember, I'm not a financial advisor, this is not financial advice, please do your own research, and this is for entertainment purposes only. So first things first, we've been on a crazy run this year with Nano Dimensions. We've seen it come from a 52-week low of around 50 cents per share, going all the way to $10.50 per share. This is some crazy growth, this is 20x alone in a year. So I began my research just by looking at Nano Dimensions and looking at their LinkedIn page, and I could see that a day ago they released this article on 3D printing RF amplifiers. So Nano Dimensions was talking about 3D printing these RF amplifiers, and they're talking about reducing the cost and time required per iteration. So they went on this case study venture with L3Harris and the potential of how they can use additive manufacturing of electronics for radio frequency circuits for RF systems. So as we know, they've partnered up with Harris Corporation. Harris Corporation is a leading technology innovator solving the customer's toughest missions and challenges. So in terms of a RF amplifier, a radio frequency power amplifier is a type of electronic amplifier that converts low power radio frequency signal into a higher power signal. So typically this RF power amplifier drives the antenna of the transmitter. So the challenge was, one of the biggest problems was creating an RF circuit used for conveying information such as data, video and voice across long distances. So this is typically a long, complex, multi-stage process when using conventional methods. Because you have to create a design, you have to produce the RF circuit, test its performance, improve the design, and repeat the whole process until you've optimized that design. And here we can see, using Nano Dimensions' dragonfly system, Harris was able to 3D print a functional RF circuit. And how they tested it was they wanted to test this RF circuit versus a manufactured one from traditional methods. So to conclude, the performance of the 3D printed RF circuit with Nano Dimensions was comparable with the traditional manufactured circuits, but by 3D printing this electronic piece, they were able to make the RF amplifiers drastically reduce in both costs and time required per iteration. So they're saving you time, they're saving you money, and they're making your process more efficient. These are some of the uses for RF amplifiers. They can be used in airborne satellite communications equipment, navigation and guidance systems, radar and sonar equipment, telemetry, electronics, surveillance, reconnaissance systems, and virtually all high-performance commercial test equipment. So in terms of using PCBs, printed circuit boards, which is what Nano Dimensions is focusing on, printing out these high-level components for electronic devices, printed circuit boards are like the central nervous system. So as you can see here, printed circuit boards, PCBs, are used to mechanically support and electrically connect electronic components using conductive pathways. So a lot of people are bullish on Nano Dimensions, and today we're not only going to talk about the Harris Corporation and the aerospace industry and also defense, but we're going to talk about all the many different industries in which printed circuit boards are used and how Nano Dimensions is going to disrupt this industry and can get a juicy part of every single market. We had to deep delve and go back into an old investor presentation to find this. So what will Nano Dimensions gain by working with Harris Corporation? So Nano Dimensions announced that in 2019 they were working on these radio frequency space systems, especially for nano satellites. This was a project they jointly worked on. So for Nano Dimensions, this is a massive opportunity to work with Harris Corporation, who already has thousands of customers around the world. They're one of the biggest global companies. This can bring them a lot of future business. In terms of some of the problems that Nano Dimensions is solving for many companies across industries, it's basically disrupting the manufacturing process of these printed circuit boards. Some of the biggest disadvantages are the complexity of creating your design, running that prototype. It's time consuming and it costs money. So in terms of the future and what Nano Dimensions can do, they've been receiving funding to develop 3D printed electronics. And by working with Harris Corporation, they'll be working to demonstrate the 3D printing of double-sided circuit boards and multi-layer circuits. So their intention with Harris is to reduce size, weight, power, and costs of circuits that distribute digital, power, and RF signals for Harris's communication systems in space. So Dr. Arthur of Harris Corp said that the ability to manufacture RF systems in-house offers an exciting new means for rapid and affordable prototyping and volume manufacturing. When people are worrying about the drawbacks and the dips for Nano Dimensions, ARK investors continuing to buy up. They've got over $40 million worth of shares now, 4.5 million shares. And even on Christmas Eve, while we were preparing ourselves for a very juicy Christmas, massaging up that turkey, ARK Invest was still buying shares in Nano Dimensions, 21,400 shares. So in order to understand the scope of what Nano Dimensions can do with this single company, we need to understand what Harris Corporation is. So Harris Corporation is an American technology company, a defense contractor, and an information technology service provider. And they provide wireless equipment, tactical radios, electronic systems, night vision equipment, and they supply both terrestrial and spaceborne antennas for the government, defense, and commercial sectors. So we know that Harris Corporation is a leading technology innovator, and they're working with lots of government and commercial customers around the world. You can see here on this website, it says that Harris has actually designed, supplied, and maintained 50,000 tactical radios for the British Armed Forces. Harris actually went through a merger with L3 Technologies on June 29, 2019, and they together then became the 6th largest defense company in the US and a top 10 defense company worldwide, with approximately $17 billion in revenue and 50,000 employees, including 20,000 engineers and scientists. And some of these engineers and scientists are the top in the world. So this is L3 Harris's baseline statement. In a world of ever accelerating change, we move forward faster. This was announced on December 21st, 2020. You can see the US Navy has awarded them a contract worth $496 million to develop next generation jammer low band tactical jamming systems. So this is basically electronic warfare. So as you can see here on the right, it says that the next generation jammer low band is a high powered, high capacity airborne electronic warfare system. And which company are we talking about today that focuses on printing high performance electrical devices and components? Nano Dimensions, baby. This collaboration with Harris could be one of the biggest income producing collaborations that they currently have. So just earlier in this presentation, we were on Nano Dimensions LinkedIn, and you can see they were talking about RF amplifiers that they've developed with L3 Harris. And then when we look at L3 Harris, aka Harris Corporation, we can see here that the company's RF communications division is the leading global supplier of secure radio communications and embedded high-grade encryption solutions for military, government, and commercial organizations. It says that Harris RF Communications is also the leading supplier of assured communication systems and equipment for public safety, utility, and transportation markets. So if Nano Dimensions has helped Harris to 3D print functional RF circuits, and Harris is the leading global supplier of secure radio communications, and they supplied the British Army with 50,000 tactical radios in the past, imagine all the other clients that Harris Corporation has, and imagine the innovation that Nano Dimensions has brought to this company. Surely they're going to be purchasing a lot of dragonfly machines and a lot of that 3D printing ink to make sure they can serve all their customers and clients with the latest innovative technology. So as we discussed, we can see here that the merger of Harris Corporation and L3 Technologies made them, L3 Harris, the 6th largest defense contractor in the US and the 10th largest in the world. And they have customers in over 130 countries. Okay guys, if you'd like to watch part 2 of this video, just make sure you check out the next video. Make sure you're subscribed because I'm going to be releasing it later on.